Hey chatters, it's Joe from Synaptic Labs, and we're in the process of releasing an upgraded version of all of our custom GPT agents, of which are free to anyone who can access the GPT store. We also provide the prompts that we're using as well to help you out, although some of these are better with ChatGPT than others because it has some built-in tools like the internet search, which is one of the ones we're going to focus on today. This GPT is Miss Noora. It represents my research assistant. As many of you probably know, I'm a bit of an Obsidian cultist, so I do have this prompt return to me the final product as something that's going to work well in Obsidian's ecosystem, using front matter for metadata and markdown for the actual note. But that's a little bit less important right now. You can always go change the prompt and boot up a version of this yourself. If you want, it's not a big deal, and you just put in what the format is that you want. So first we're going to show you how to use this prompt, and then we'll actually get into the guts of the prompt and I'll walk you through how I've built it. Let's get started. As with most of our GPTs, we have this start button to get you started. You don't have to click it. You can just ask your question and move forward, but this can be helpful if you don't really know what to ask. So I might say something like, I want a note about Harris Hawks. I think they are so cool. So we'll send that out and it should look over the web now and find all the information we need. It's writing up some of those stats. And then it's asking me for this downloadable .md note. Again, this is for Obsidian, but if you want, you can say, hey, can you put this in docx or something like that, and you'll be fine. And I'll say, yeah, give me a downloadable file. You don't necessarily have to say downloadable file, but it's otherwise, it might put it in the canvas, for example, and then you're having to copy and paste. Whereas this, I'm actually gonna be able to download it after it's putting it into a .md file. So let's give it a second to do that. Of course, this might end up taking more time than you actually copying and pasting this wherever you need it to go. So you really want to think about this more of, okay, now I can go off and do something else while this is working out, and then I can come back when it's done and save it where I need to. Here we have the file. Let's save it. We're going to stick it in the good old vault here. We'll put it in our inbox. I'll hit save. Okay, let's head into the vault and see what it looks like. Here we are in the vault, and you can see we have this nice front matter. I like to do the relationships this way because if I click this now, it's going to create a new empty note that I can continue to go down that curiosity causeway of just, oh, that is a good next note. And oh, I am interested in that. So here we have the note that it created. Again, on the front end, you want to pay attention to either the outline it creates or the information. Make sure you're getting what you want before you tell it to send it off. But we also have all of our citations here to follow up and a neatly organized atomic knowledge note for your database. Now let's get into the guts of the actual prompt. As I said, this is open source. You can head over to the GitHub and just grab it and make it your own. Put it into your own GPT with your own interests and preferences, whatever it might be. But let me show you how it's set up. So first off, we have our mission for Miss Noora. Well-researched education, specialize in creating atomic knowledge for Obsidian. You know the importance of accurate citations and well-structured information. Pretty simple. Again, you might want to toss this out and switch it with whatever platform you might be using, Notion, Google, whatever it might be. Then we have pretty simple instructions. Just get an idea of the topic, use your research tool, draft the outline, put it into Obsidian format. So again, you might want to remove this. And then ask for a downloadable wiki. Again, I say .md here. You can put whatever you want there in terms of the file type. And then we have the format here. So I'm putting it in a markdown code block. Again, I'm focused on Obsidian, so I have front matter that I prefer for Obsidian, but you can tap this out with whatever you want or just get rid of it altogether if you're not using something that needs metadata. And then just a general, this is how I want you to break down the article. We have a title, overview, sections, critique, citations, and we want the citations made a certain way so that they're clickable within Obsidian. So again, you might not need this, but how this is going to show up in Obsidian is I just see the hyperlink, the name and the URL will be attached to that. And then just to keep the character, we say when speaking, make sure you're talking as your emoji character. So that's it for the prompt walkthrough, but I did want to experiment with one thing before we go. So let's head over to the new ChatGPT O3 Mini and see what happens with this prompt. O3 Mini was recently released, and on top of that, for the people who are paying more money, not me at this point, got access to something called Deep Research, which does a really deep dive into research. Now, I have heard because we can use search with O3 Mini, we might be able to spoof some of that functionality, but obviously not on as such a high level. So let's see what happens. I'm just going to stick the prompt in here. I'm going to hit enter. Now, this is a reasoning model, so it's going to think through, okay, pretty quick. And we're going to do the same exact thing. I am interested in learning everything there is about Paris Fonks. Okay, let's let it run and see what happens. At this point, O3 Mini can't actually make files right now. It needs to be able to use the code interpreter, so it can't do that at the moment. So it's just put this article in a block for me. I don't even know if it did that much of a better job, but let's copy it into the vault and just see what it looks like. We can compare them side by side. You can see it was pretty much the same thing here. Didn't do a great job on the type, although we could define that better. And the O3 Mini didn't have any tags, it looks like, although maybe it just didn't do them right. Yeah, so it didn't do them right. So that's not great. If it had gotten rid of these, it should show up now if I get out. So that's not great. Didn't follow the formatting the way I wanted. So that's a win for the GPT, not O3 Mini. It looks like it's much more bullet pointy. But you know what? Let's play around here. I think overall, look at this. This actually looks like it did a little bit of a better job. The big thing about O3 Mini is it can actually do a very long output. Let's go back over there and give it a little bit of extra prompting to get what we want. Okay, so let's say I want you to output a full research report that is professionally done in a markdown code block for this topic. O3 Mini can output quite a bit at any given time. Some of it does get used for the reasoning, which is part of the reason it can go pretty long. So let's see how we can push the limit here. Here we are. This is what it came up with. The first thing we'll say, I didn't give it some information to fix the metadata, so it didn't. So we still have the same problem. But you can see here now, like 800 words for O3 Mini versus 300 words for the normal GPT. So again, we could probably do the same with the GPT, say go longer, but either way, it's probably not going to get as long as this is and as in depth. So it might be worth like not necessarily using the GPT and instead taking the prompt, making it your own and just using it in ChatGPT proper with the O3 Mini model, which also has access to the internet and can probably go a little bit deeper. That's it for Miss Noora. Again, this is all open source, this prompt on GitHub. You just come to prof synapse/Miss Neura. We go to prompt.txt and you're going to see we have the most up-to-date prompt here. We keep it updated here as well as in the GPT as things drift or we improve it. So by the time you watch this, it might even be even better than what it is right now. If you do like it, please leave a star. And as always, visit us at www.synapticlabs.ai to come see and learn about all kinds of fun AI stuff. Thanks, chatters.